Hari
We are all looking for something. Everybody in this world looks for something that is fulfilling, that finally does the trick, that I'm perfectly happy. Why is that? That everybody consciously or unconsciously is doing that. No matter what direction one looks, it's always with that basic idea, if I'm going down that alley, it makes me happy. Even people have no idea, who have no idea that they are looking for happiness, people who are suffering, people who are in pain, they are doing their actions, not even having the concept of being happy, but try to find at least some relief in whatever they are doing. Why? Because deep down, everybody knows it's natural. Our natural state is joyous. Our natural state is complete. Not in the sense that it's complete, that there is nothing beyond, but there is a total sense of completion there. Now, the experience of that can unfold and unfold, and there is no limit to it. But wherever the experience is, there is that sense of completion. It comes out of ourselves. And everybody knows, most of us unconsciously have completely forgotten it, but this is our natural state. And when we are in our mind, when we are with our problems, when we feel incomplete, when we feel something is totally lacking in my life and why is this happening to me, there is that sense it could be totally different. And as long as we are not a little self-conscious, then people are running and running and running, trying this, trying that, trying to find happiness with this pleasure, with that pleasure, with fulfilling this desire, fulfilling that desire. Momentary, it gives the appearance and it always passes. It's never doing the job. And then comes the spiritual teacher and says, but you can have eternal happiness. And then people do all kinds of things spiritually, all kinds of techniques, all kinds of practices, all kinds of things. Why? Hoping to find that fulfillment, that happiness. Why? Because you are longing for it. Deep down, you know, it's my birthright, it's what I am. It's unnatural not to be in harmony, not to be at peace, not to be in that joyousness. And even when people become spiritual, we still have the tendency to looking in the wrong place, hoping if I'm doing this, I can achieve that. That may make me happy. If I'm doing that, I'm achieving another thing that may make me happy. It's not about spiritual achievements. It's not about getting this or that. It's somehow the spiritual practice makes us more conscious, and in that increased consciousness, we start to have more of a sense that that which we are looking for is not a goal that we reach at the end of a path after a long journey, but it's here, it's now, it's timeless, it's that which makes the experience possible. It's always there, complete, full of that bubbling joyousness. It's static and dynamic. It's Shiva and it's Shakti. All we have to do is to come home. All we have to do is to see what we are doing to ourselves, how we are creating tensions that we are not aware of, that which is prior to all these things that we are creating, to that which makes the experience possible. All the spiritual practices have that goal to be a help to bring the attention back home, to that essence, that which is not blemished, that which is not spoiled, that which is in its own fantastic beauty and purity, always there. We just have forgotten that this is our essence, and the spiritual practices, they are a crutch for the mind to make it easier to look in the right direction. The spiritual teachings, they are pointers for the mind to catch the attention on the mental level where it's always busy, 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 and turn it in the right direction, back to the source, back to the now, back to the timelessness of the now, back to the source that makes every experience possible. It's basically so simple. And that is the job. We have gotten the habit of being always so busy and distracted and hooked into things emotionally, intellectually, energetically. That we have to become aware what is going on, that we are doing that all the time. Stop blaming the universe, stop blaming the other people, stop blaming our upbringing, stop blaming our childhood, our parents, our teachers, stop blaming anything, but see, okay, all these external circumstances have contributed that I started to function this way, that I'm doing this all the time, but I'm doing this to myself. I'm creating that sense of dissatisfaction. I'm creating that sense of depression. I'm creating that sense of tension. I'm creating the suffering. And I'm recreating and recreating and recreating. And if I want to get rid of it, I just have to learn to be attentive and see what I'm doing, see what is happening, and then learn not to do that anymore. Our spiritual practices help us to do so, but that's the point of it. You may read all kinds of fantastic stories that one have through the spiritual practice experienced this and experienced that. This is very nice, nothing wrong with it. It may be inspiring to continue, and the subtler, the more profound the experience becomes, the more the experience itself is a pointer in the right direction, but it's not that we have to chase after experiences, but bring the attention back to that which makes the experiences possible, no matter whether it's the most profound spiritual experience or it's a very mundane, common experience. It's not even difficult, but it has to be done. There's no point in just saying, okay, I'm already dead, so then there's nothing to do. As long as we, out of habit, create and recreate and create over and over the situations where we are invariably creating suffering for ourselves, for others, creating the tensions, then there needs to be done something about it. If we want to find peace, if we want to be free, if we want to be naturally joyous. And the different practices, they make it easier to be more conscious of what is going on. If the mind is very restless, if we are full in the tensions, it's not easy to abstractly, to simply drop the attachment. It's much easier to redirect the attention to a spiritual practice. But then it's good to remember this practice is a help. It's a crutch for the mind. It's not the goal in itself. It's not that we have to learn a technique and become better and better, become an adept in the technique, that finally we can achieve spiritual glory somewhere. The spiritual practice is simply making it easier to become self-conscious. Now, bring the attention easier to the timelessness of the present. The more we bring the attention here, the more we learn to relax in it. The more natural this is simply coming, the more easy it comes. And eventually your attention may just dive so deep into that we are not more losing it. But as long as we are again and again creating that sense of total separation and all the pain and suffering that comes with it, we are very, very well advised to remind ourselves. And it's not so difficult, but we have to have that inclination, we have to have that intent, that intention to really look for happiness, for fulfillment in the right place. For that we can find inspiration in the teaching of great masters. For that these teachings are very useful. But the teachings never define the truth. We are the truth. We never have been apart from the truth. It's not that we fell out of it and have to struggle back. It is here, it is now. It's that which makes the experience possible. Cannot possibly be absent. If that interest is there, it's not even difficult. The habit to do something else may be strong, but whenever you remember, as long as we don't remember, nothing can be done. But as soon as the memory comes, as soon as I become aware, look what I'm doing, instead of going along then with the story that we are creating at that moment, just sort of turn the attention 180 degrees and relax. It's not that difficult. We may stay only a very little moment. And then the habit takes over again, and there we go again. And it may take a while until we become aware. Oh, there I have been gone again for that much time. So what? Never mind. Come back home. If we do that consequently, that memory comes more often naturally, and it will become easier and easier. And it will also happen to people who do that suddenly, out of the blue, without you even trying, you find yourself like you're relaxing. You feel at ease, at peace, effortlessly. You feel so totally natural. You don't know how you did it, because you didn't do it. It just happened. Then the mind comes back and we start again and we just create our stories again, and we have the tendency to think, what did I do wrong? Why did it happen again? We didn't do anything wrong. It's just the old habit has its own momentum and it doesn't give up so quickly. So no point then after that thinking what happened just exactly before this beautiful experience of naturalness, of peace, of harmony was there, and think if I do that again, then this happens again. It doesn't work like that. Not, no need of blaming ourselves. I did something wrong, it was there, and I did something wrong and lost it again, lost the touch again. It simply was not the time. Instead of thinking all these things about it, best is to have the attitude, thank you very much for that moment of grace. And if we remember those moments with that positive attitude, it's very inspiring at the present moment again to easily connect. Connect. It's not difficult. Connect consciously. You are connected. In our conscious experience, we seem to disconnect. So consciously connect and relax. And these moments may come more and more, and sometimes they are longer, where you are effortlessly, naturally at ease, at peace. Don't think this is it, this is the end of the story, but just stay with them. This is the base. Essentially, not changing, essentially always the same, but the experience of it start to blossom and to unfold, and there is no limit to it.